Good morning, everybody. Welcome back from Someone Scott Selections here for Friday, December 10th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a loss in the NFL with the Steelers plus 3.5 at minus 118 on Fox Bet. Somehow, that game came down to the wire. Pittsburgh was getting blown out for pretty much the entire game. And then Minnesota tried to blow the entire game and blow a 29-point lead in the process. And we had a serious shot to get it done. Pittsburgh had goal to go with 3 seconds to go, and Big Ben down 8 at the time. And Big Ben threw a perfect pass to Freiermuth, who unfortunately caught it, but got hit as he caught it, and the ball hit the ground. So Pittsburgh would have cut that to 2, which would have been covering, would have had to go for a 2-point conversion. And if they missed, we would have won. If they would have made it, we would have had to sweat overtime. But we had a serious shot to cover, and unfortunately, it did not work out. But I really cannot complain too much about the outcome because Pittsburgh was kind of just dead to rights and then pulled off an almost miracle for the cover. So it is what it is. We're playing with house money there in the second half, and it came up a bit short. So we'll look for a bounce-back winner here on Friday. And for the play today, looking at a matchup in college basketball between Loyola Chicago and Vanderbilt taking place at around 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to go with Vanderbilt team total under 64.5 at minus 120 on DraftKings. Time recording of 3:40 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like the team total under here in this spot. First of all, there has been a lot of line movement in this game already, which definitely supports the team total under for Vanderbilt. Total has gone from 133 on the full game to 132, and Loyola has gone from minus 3.5 to minus 4.5. Translation, people expect Vanderbilt to have a hard time scoring in this game, which is why the favorite line has increased and the total has decreased. And there's a couple reasons why people are expecting Vanderbilt to struggle offensively in this spot. First of all, the pace or the lack thereof should definitely benefit the under. Loyola ranks 317th in offensive tempo according to KenPom, while Vanderbilt ranks 242nd according to KenPom, which means expect a bunch of half-court possessions and barely, if any, fast break opportunities, which should equal a lot of long, really ugly possessions, which eat up a bunch of clock, which should result in less possessions overall for both teams. Now, looking at the defensive numbers for Loyola, of course, they've been an elite defensive team for the last couple of years, and this year is no different. Loyola ranks 52nd in the country in defense efficiency, according to KenPom. And if you want to look at the level of competition, Loyola's done a pretty good job defensively against some quality offenses. To go through some examples, they played against Michigan State in a neutral, Auburn in a neutral, and at DePaul. And those 3 games, they allowed less than 65 points. Now, Michigan State, we know, was a ranked team, pretty decent team there. Auburn, a lot of offensive talent, and Loyola shut them down. And then they played at DePaul. And DePaul, despite not being ranked, is one of the most underrated offensive teams in the country. They play at a tremendously fast pace, and they also have a lot of scoring talent. They can walk in any given night and score 85 to 90. And yet Loyola only gave up 64 points at DePaul last Saturday. So I think that's one of the most impressive defensive performances that's being swept under the rug. And I do think that Vanderbilt's offense compared to DePaul is really night and day. And I do think you will see Vanderbilt's offense struggle to reach 65 in this spot as a result. But if you want to talk about how Vanderbilt has faced so far this season against quality defenses, the answer is not well. Earlier this season, November 17th, they played against VCU at home, and they scored a whopping total of 37 points. Now, VCU ranks number 3 in defense efficiency, so they are better than Loyola by about 50 spots. However, they do rank about 250 in pace, which means that Loyola is significantly slower than Vanderbilt by about 60 spots. So there's a bit of a trade-off there between defensive efficiency and pace, and I do think those will balance out. Now, do I think that Vanderbilt is going to score 37 in this game? No. I think that was an abysmal shooting night, but the point is that Vanderbilt against quality, even elite defenses, has really had a hard time of even just generating open looks, and I do think that bodes well for Loyola's defense in this spot. Plus, the last game, they played against Temple. Temple ranks in the low 120s in terms of defense efficiency, and in the pace department ranks in the 200s. And Vanderbilt finished that game with 68. However, they received 5 extra minutes because the game went to overtime, and Vanderbilt at home in that game only scored 58 points in regulation. So with those two comparisons, I do think that Loyola is kind of somewhere in between both teams, and I do think that if Vanderbilt struggled to even reach 60 in regulation against either opponent, they should struggle to reach 60 in this spot. I think Vanderbilt's going to score around 58 points in this game. Now, is it possible for them to go over? Of course. They're at home. They can have a hot shooting night, but when they only have 2 players averaging double digits in terms of points per game, and one of them is Scottie Pippen Jr., who's easily their best player, and he's battling a bit of an illness. He was questionable going into the Temple game, ended up playing, didn't really play well, but he's probable for this game. He should suit up. Slight chance he doesn't, but I do think that he will end up playing. The issue, though, is that if he's less than 100% and he's facing off against probably the second best defense he's faced all season long, if he has an off night, Vanderbilt's screwed. There's really no other way to put it. They don't have enough shot creators. They don't have enough, really, just distributors. And I do think that Loyola will have a nice defensive game plan to deal with him and the rest of the Commodores. So the play today, once again, here for Friday, December 10th, is going to be on Vanderbilt team total under 64.5 at -120 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.